Well, welcome everybody. It's nice to have everyone here tonight for our policy session at the City Council. We have a pretty full agenda tonight, so we will get us started. We'll turn the time over to Councilmember Phipps for our opening ceremony.
Would you please stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father in heaven, we come to Thee this day, grateful for the freedoms which we enjoy in the land which has been granted unto us, for those who have served and sacrificed to allow this to happen, that have gone before us. We're grateful for the opportunities we have to be together as a community, and that Thou hast brought us together in this capacity. We pray Thee now to bless us in our decisions, that they will be wise and inspired, and that that which is best for the citizens in this community will be done, that we will have the wisdom necessary to make those decisions. We pray Thy blessing upon those who put themselves in harm's way for us and for our safety and our protection, the fire, the police, the others that are involved in the operations of this city. We pray Thee for them and pray for Thy protection to be upon them. And we ask Thee this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Vern. Council, we have minutes tonight to approve from the March 23rd work session, the June 13th work session, the June 20th work session, the June 27th work session, and the June 27th policy session. Have you had a chance to review the minutes? And are there any additions or corrections? If not, then I'd entertain a motion.
And I move to approve the minutes as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So the first item on our agenda tonight is public hearing to receive public comment on an amendment to the Wilcox Farms amended plat, or amended final subdivision plat located approximately 823 West, 1600 South. Spencer, do you want to give us some background here?
So, final subdivision plat 1706-0004 is an amendment to an existing subdivision located on the southwestern end of the city at 1600 South and approximately 800 West. The request is from Craig Winder of Ironwood Development for the purpose of subdividing this into 29 individual lots, which will be townhome development. This site is 1.88 acres, and recently there was a subdivision completed that allowed for the installation of the public improvements, the street, curb gutter, and sidewalk that allow access to the site. Mr. Winder is here and will be able to answer any questions that the council might have later on in this meeting. The request is going to be tied to a development agreement specific to the development of the site. This has been reviewed by the Planning Commission and recommended for approval contingent on the finalization of this amended plat, it being recorded and the development agreement being executed. This was discussed with the council last week in a work session meeting relative to this subdivision and the amendment to the existing subdivision. Currently what they're proposing is 4 buildings, a 9-unit building, two 7-unit buildings, and a 6-unit building, approximately 450 square feet for each unit, with appropriate setbacks and design guidelines stipulated in the development agreement. I apologize that the public isn't able to see it. It doesn't sound like you guys are able to see it up there either. But the design for the site is going to be particular to hardy board, stone, and will be a higher end architecture and development for the site. And so staff is encouraged by that. This has been reviewed by the Planning Commission and recommended for approval at their meeting earlier this month. And so this is before the council this evening for approval of this amendment to the subdivision plat in order to create these 29 individual townhome lots.
Okay, thank you, Spencer. I'll go ahead and declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone here to speak in regards to this amendment?
Your Honor, seeing no request to comment, I would move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Take us to item number 2, which is our second of 3 public hearings. This is to receive public comment on amendments to the City Code, Title 11, Chapter 13, Supplementary Regulations regarding mobile food vendors. Turn the time back over to Spencer.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This request is something that was spurred by some recent changes in state statute relative to mobile food trucks, mobile food vendors, those individuals who travel around and are able to convey food services from their mobile vehicles. The regulations have changed substantially at the state level, where local regulations are something of a carryover from community to community. So individuals will be licensed in Layton, Clearfield, Syracuse, Clinton, and all they'd be required is hold one license and have all of the approvals for health department and those other things in order to be able to operate. If a business is not currently licensed, we would have the ability to license that entity if they wanted to locate within the city. But those licensing regulations and other things wouldn't be specific to a boundary anymore. These proposed changes to our code would really just make it consistent with state law, so that we weren't having any conflicts or issues relative to these recent changes in the state statute. This item was heard by the Planning Commission at their meeting earlier this month and recommended for approval, and it's before the council this evening for approval of these changes to our supplementary regulations.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone here to speak in regards to this item?
Your Honor, seeing no public comment, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. That'll bring us to our third public hearing, which is to receive public comment on amendments to the City Code Title 11, Chapter 15, sign regulations regarding ball field signs and political or campaign signs. Spencer, back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. So this item is a request by Clearfield City in order to update and make some changes to our signage regulations specific to signage that will be allowed at municipal fields, specifically Steed and Fisher Parks. Changes to the language within the political sign regulations for when those political signs can be posted and things of that nature. And then additionally, staff has been working through some new regulations and language for what are called flag banner signs within the city and the regulations associated with those. So unfortunately, you can't see some of the pretty pictures I have, and I apologize for that, but some examples of just signage throughout the city on flag banners. So those big, tall banners that you may see, in case you're not familiar with what they are, usually made of nylon and things of that nature. Additionally, there's those signs that can be put on ball fields for advertisements and to provide some potential revenue and opportunity there. The changes to political signs will be very limited. It will just be some minor changes to the language, but I'd like to first discuss the municipal field signage. So this signage is meant to allow for the advertisement on the fencing at Steed and Fisher Parks. This would allow somebody to put signage to face inward so that spectators would be able to see it. It would not be facing out of the field, but be completely contained inward. Specifically in the code, we're proposing that it be stated at Steed and Fisher Parks only for their fields there, and that we proposed a new definition for municipal field signs, since this is not something that our code currently addressed. Additionally, we have some changes to political signs. So again, they're very, very minor, and there was some discussion last week in our work session with the council relative to that language, and so staff has sought to capture that discussion as well as include that for the council and the public's understanding. Currently, we require 30 days prior to any primary election and 45 prior to any general election. The recommendation from staff to the Planning Commission at the July 5th meeting was that it changed from 30 to 45 days prior to any primary election, and they recommended approval of that language. However, last week at our council work session, there was additional discussion on that item, and some of the discussion led us towards changing the language back to 30 days for both and adding some language to the effect of when the mailing of the ballots for the primary election takes place. And so staff has included that language, just given the discussion that we had last week at the council work session, for consideration today as well. The Planning Commission did recommend the change with the 45 days at their meeting on July 5th, and so that was the recommendation that was forwarded to the council at this time for approval. Finally, the last one is the flag banner signs that have been discussed. So again, those are those different signs that we see around posted like a pylon with the vinyl about 12 feet tall. Staff has included regulations for those as well as a definition of flag banner signs. And we would be specifically looking at 5 different specific flag banners that we would allow for and include in our code, which are shark fin, feather flags, teardrop flags, concave flags, and blade flags. And so staff has created or looked at other organizations and municipalities to create that regulation, as well as provide a definition for that. This item was also recommended for approval by the commission at their meeting on July 5th, and it's before the council this night for approval.
Okay, thank you, Spencer. Go ahead and declare the public hearing open. I don't have any forms from anyone to speak on this item either. Is anyone here to speak in regards to these changes?
Seeing none, Your Honor, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Well, that brings us to our citizen comment time. I don't have any forms from anyone here to address the council in particular, but I don't want to deny anyone that chance. Is there anyone here that was here to speak to the council? Okay, well, thank you. We'll go ahead and move on and consider approval of the amendment to the Wilcox Farm subdivision plat located at approximately 823 West, 1600 South. This is the item that Spencer just covered for us on Wilcox Farms. Council, did you have any questions for Spencer or for the applicant?
Spencer, just 2 questions. On the recitals, it was like page 35.
Within the development agreement?
Yes,
Is that right?
sorry, page, I think it was like 35 of that giant PDF. Just had a question on H, where it has the call-out language that all of the requirements on that would run by covenant with that, but there's not a specific call-out as far as the requirement of an HOA and that be recorded against the plats. Is that the intent of that open space and everything else like that would be maintained through an established HOA? Would be required?
Yes, in discussions with the developer, the intent is that an HOA would be established in order to maintain all the common area of the property.
My only question then is language that would specifically require that not only the HOA be formed, but then also recorded against the plats, be added to that, or just the call out there that it's by covenant? Is that enough that will cover it?
We could probably substantiate that a little bit better and work with the applicant to do so. I think it was just an oversight as we looked at it and felt like the language was comfortable for the both of us, but I think we can get more specific with that HOA language if that would be agreeable to the council. We're okay with that.
I would think it needs to call it out.
Yeah, and developer is okay with that as well, so we can work on that language.
And then just a small thing, no, actually, that was it. Just H on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, council, any other comments, questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll move to approve the amendments to Wilcox Farms amended subdivision plat located at 823 West, 1600 South, with the amendment with the additional requirement in H of the.
That's the next item. The number 6 is the development agreement for that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped
You're
again.
okay.
Sorry, Nancy. My bad.
Oh,
Sorry, I jumped
so we're
ahead.
good.
I
Never
thought-
mind.
Sorry.
Then I'll move to approve the amendments to Wilcox Farms amended subdivision plat located 1823 West, 1600 South, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are unanimous. So we will move on to item number 6, which is consider approval of the development agreement with Ironwood Development Group, LC, for the Oakmont Townhome subdivision located at approximately 823 West, 1600 South. So, council, are there any other concerns other than the concern Nika raised regarding the HOA? If not, I would entertain a motion then to that effect.
Oh, just one real comment real quick. On the recitals on E, last sentence, there's just a word missing, if we could add that. The sentence reads, rear elevations for each building shall, I would add B or
Include
something, yeah.
Yeah,
Do
thank
it
you.
in that.
We caught that as well, so we'll make sure we get that clarified. Thank you.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve the development agreement with Ironwood Development Group LC for the Oakmont Townhome subdivision located approximately 823 West, 1600 South, as amended, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Move on to item number 7, which is consider approval of ordinance 2017-13, amending the city code Title 4 Business License Regulations, Title 11, Chapter 13, Supplementary Regulations regarding mobile food vendors, and Title 11, Chapter 15, Sign Regulations regarding ball field signs and political campaign signs. This is the item Spencer just covered for us. Council, any questions or comments for Spencer?
I just have a clarification on the ball field signs. These are, because there's these temporary fields, like at Steed, does it include signs on those temporary fields also?
The intent is for the permanent
Okay.
fencing along 1,000 and 300, so it would be on those fields specifically. Our Community Services Department will oversee the installation of the signage on those fields, but the intent was not to allow for it. I don't think on temporary signs unless the council wanted us to consider.
Yeah,
that.
I said temporary, but I meant practice fields or
Okay.
things, you know.
Yeah, the large fields at Steed and Fisher Park is specifically what was intended when these signs were discussed previously, I think. So.
Okay.
And Spencer, I had just wanted to express again my concern on the proposed language on the sign regulations for what is the actual word on it? It's the post signs, that's not the flag signs, thank you. On the flag signs there. Just concerned as far as the imposition upon our businesses as far as being business friendly and the language and our ability to enforce upon that. No concerns as far as the proposed language on mobile food vendors and also the political signs or ball fields, but concerned on the language we have isn't, I would like to see that one, my comfort level on that right now is still concerning on how that is worded right now.
The specific concern I had with it was just the 14 days.
Per
And
quarter, the 14 days per quarter, and how
Yeah.
we regulate that and enforce that and oversee that, I think was the discussion that we had last week at the work session.
Well, it's just to that end, just to reiterate that on the record, my concern is anytime we tweak an ordinance, that there'd be a reasonable ability to be able to enforce it, and I'm concerned about the weight that would put back on staff and being able to monitor that. I don't know what the correct fix on that would be, but
I think it needs to be there just so you have enough teeth that if we do choose to enforce it, we can.
which is a valid point.
I don't know how if you lighten it up, then there's no way to really, we're enforcing a lighter something, whereas here, if you've got somebody that's overburdensome in what they're doing, we have the ability to at least say, hey, come on, guys, this has become a permanent sign here.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with the standards of a sign. I just think a business should be able to decide when they put their signs out in the city. The city shouldn't dictate, oh, you can only put your sign out for 14 days.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of more
And
that
during
thing
this
too,
time
is
period.
there should be a standard, there should be a certain quality, there should be places where they can and cannot be. They shouldn't stand in for permanent signage, appropriate signage on a building. There should be limits as far as, visibility and all of those kind of things. But I would rather see that addressed there versus a time that then becomes monitored. I don't know that we want to run right to permanent. I mean, because I think you've got a good point on that. But trying to regulate that and asking businesses to come back in, this sign can be out at this time, this one can't, we've got to clear it, where we're trying to support our businesses. We want them to be clean and attractive, but we also don't want to give them one extra thing they've got to do to do that. So I don't know if there's, my personal preference on this one would be to give that one little section one more go round, and because I don't know what it would be to change it, but I'd rather look at the things that we're worried about rather than using time as the mechanism that would regulate that.
I agree. I think that my personal opinion is those type of signs are the kind of modern advertisement that's become very, very common, and it's part of national and local business campaigns and such. And I think maybe even more strongly agree with Nika than she agrees with herself that that's an undue burden upon businesses who find it a profitable way to enhance their businesses.
And I think, and I appreciate the input given. And I think last week in our discussion, made staff is seeking to balance the look and feel of our downtown with regulation that would be substantive enough that we would have some ability to monitor and track. Right now, those signs are not allowed outright, and so technically any of those signs that are out there could be removed and disposed of in a timely manner. We would give them notice and things of that nature. So staff is seeking to codify our ability to say, you can have those signs. However, given that it's this area or this area of the city, we would like for them not to be a permanent sign. And right now, they have more or less become permanent signs that are there for 6-8 months, no matter the notices they'll go out and those things of that nature. The follow-up is difficult, and we don't have any language that says, well, this is what happens if you do that. And we have some enforcement language, but specifically we were seeking to codify language that would put some stipulations, not to be a burden, but more so to allow us a little bit more information to say, yes, you can have those signs, we're trying to help out, however, they are on a limited basis, and not make them a permanent fixture, which is kind of what they're becoming throughout the city.
See, I've been driving around the city, and so I disagree. I don't think they're that bad, and as I've talked to people, I don't know, to me, it gives an undue burden to that business to have to do that. So I'm fine with everything else in there. I'm fine with a standard like the picture you showed of the one tied to the cord on the electrical pole. Yeah, we don't want that.
Right.
But I'm not comfortable with telling a city or telling a business you can only do it 4 times a year and within a 14-day window for these type of signs. I'm fine telling them you can have 2, but it's just that 14-day language in there that I'm not.
It's a hard line to draw, but I think somewhere you have to draw some sort of line, because if you don't put a limit on it, it becomes a permanent sign. If we go to the businesses and say, hey, they're all allowed, we've got several that haven't put them out because they haven't been allowed. That could be their reasoning, as they understand and they're following code, but we don't allow flag signs. If you got every business up along State Street putting out flag signs on a permanent basis, even a semi-permanent basis, the State Street's not going to look very good if it's just every single business running a flag sign out there, and you would hope that doesn't happen. And so I thought at least it gave the understanding to a business that there's a time limit, whether it's enforced, whether we relax it, whatever. It at least gave them the understanding that, okay, this isn't meant to be permanent. We totally support you having some banners out here and then putting up a flag sign, but it's not a permanent piece of your stuff out here. It's meant to draw attention to your business. Anyone that puts out a campaign sign knows how long the longer it stays out, the less attention it draws. And so businesses usually try to rotate those in and out anyway, so that it changes the feel. I don't think they would find offense to it. I don't think it would. But without it, if you don't put a time frame in, you pretty much just said you can advertise on them whenever and however you want.
No, and I agree with that. I just think the 14 days is kind of a tight window. I'd feel more comfortable if we relaxed it, if you gave them 30 days or,
And I don't know what the solution is, but I think I like the standard too, and I appreciate what you're saying there is, but somehow there has to be a way. Well, let me say too, I also philosophically don't like the idea of passing an ordinance which we don't think we're going to really be able to enforce, or we are willing to enforce. That if we're going to do 14 days, then we should say, well, then we're going to come up with a process to tag the signs with a date, and the 15th day we're going to ticket them. If we're not willing to say that, then we're just, I have a philosophical problem with that. So, and that becomes an undue burden where you become the sign Gestapo, that you're going around and saying, hey, you got 2 more hours left on that sign, and then it goes down. So perhaps there is something that we haven't thought through yet to meet those needs, so it's not tacky, but at the same time, we recognize, in my mind, the valid need for a business to utilize that to enhance their business,
Sure.
Which I think is valid.
Absolutely. I think they should have any way possible to enhance their business that we can help them out with.
Yeah.
Well, then, I would probably recommend that we have a motion that eliminates that one piece, that, if that's the case, then it remands that piece back to staff, and we eliminate that piece, Nancy, as a part of the motion.
And just to clarify, perhaps just the flag sign portion, but continuing to include the ball field signage and those others where there are no concerns.
Yeah.
Signs and so forth.
Well, so I'd be willing to do this. Let me see if I word it right. Approve ordinance Your Honor, I move that we approve ordinance 2017-13, amending City Code Title 4 Business License Regulations, Title 11, Chapter 13, supplemental regulations regarding mobile food vendors, Title 11, Chapter 15, sign regulations regarding ball field signs and political or campaign signs, but table the wording in the ordinance as proposed in the agenda that relates to flag signs, flag banners.
Second.
Okay,
So, does that wording work?
is that,
Yeah, we'll fix it, yeah.
we hope fix it, okay.
No, I meant the ordinance.
Thanks.
We'll
Okay.
remove.
She
we'll
will make
remove the
Vern grammatically
Paragraph
correct.
that says we're amending Title 11, Chapter 15, Section 9, Paragraph C.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Perfect.
And I'm sorry, I missed the second on that.
That
Sorry.
was Councilmember Peterson.
Peterson, thank you.
So we need a roll call on this one. Councilmember Phipps?
Aye.
Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
Councilmember Roper?
Aye.
Councilmember Bush?
Aye.
Councilmember Young?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. We'll move on to item number 8, which is to consider approval of ordinance 2017-14, amending the city's consolidated fee schedule regarding mobile food vendors. And Spencer, you want to
Yeah, absolutely.
bring
Thank
us
you,
up to
Mayor.
speed here?
So this is really, again, just to put ourselves in line with current regulations that have been changed at the state level. So what we're proposing to do within the fee schedule is to maintain that $120 fee, which is currently charged for all mobile food vendors. That would apply to our 365-day time frame instead of 180 days. And then also we'd be removing the $100 cleaning deposit from the consolidated fee schedule as well. Given that they can go and register and license anywhere, we're just taking that off the board because it's not applicable anymore per the current regulations that have changed.
Okay. Council, any concerns?
Oh, it's great. My wife and I are big fans of food trucks. So anything we can do to get them here closer to us so we don't have to drive somewhere else.
Very good. Then I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve ordinance 2017-14, amending the city's consolidated fee schedule regarding mobile food vendors and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, that one actually required a roll call, didn't it? That was an ordinance. I apologize.
Catching up with you slowly.
Councilmember Young?
Aye.
Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
Councilmember Bush?
Aye.
Councilmember Roper?
Aye.
Councilmember Phipps?
Aye.
All right, now it's unanimous. Item number 9 is to consider approval of the award of bid for the 700 South and 1000 West intersection signal and reconstruction of 700 South from 1000 West to 1500 West to Staker Parson Company. Scott, you want to just, I guess you can come give us some more information for the public. We discussed this in our work session prior, but I probably ought to have something on the record here.
Mayor, Council, here a week or so ago, we opened up some bids for a project that would be on 700 South. Would be improving the roads from 1000 West to about 1500 West on 700 South. There would be a signal that would go in at the intersection of 1000 West and 700 South, and then water utility put down 700 South, a storm drain, and some improvements to an irrigation line, as well as curb gutter sidewalk that would be installed on that road. That most of the road right now does not have curb gutter sidewalk on it. As we advertised for this project, we received one bid. It was from Staker Parsons. The bid from them was $1.6 million. Our budget for this project is $1.2 million. And we knew with bidding this late in the season that we were risking not having too many people bid on the project, but we was hoping to get more than one person to bid the project. And also, it is a fairly work-involved project. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We're getting well into the construction season, so we need to either move forward immediately with the project or rebid the project later in the season or later this year, hoping to get more bids from other people and possibly get better bids. as well, that would keep us closer to our budget that we have. So with that, that's just a little bit of background. Any questions?
Okay, council, any questions for Scott? Okay, thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Council, I'd entertain a motion then. Not from everybody at once, but from somebody.
Well, Your Honor, I move that we reject the award of the bid for the 700 South and 1000 West intersection signal reconstruction.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Could we amend that just slightly on there with the directive then to ask staff to rebid that later?
Absolutely.
That would be
To
good.
be rebid at a future time when costing is anticipated to be more favorable.
As in this winter.
Is that okay with the second?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
All
gonna
in
try to
favor?
make sure my neighbors don't mob me.
Well, yeah, include that in the motion that we from now on blame Bruce for all issues related to this problem. Council, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Item number 10 is to consider approval of the award of proposal for the Clearfield Aquatic and Fitness Center treadmills purchased, Pacific Fitness Products and Upper Limit Fitness. Where's our, there it is. Can't see for the sun coming through the window, or the glare. Eric, it's all yours.
All right, thank you, Mayor. It's become necessary to replace the treadmills at the Aquatic Center. We generally do that on about a 4-year rotation. We're about 5.5 years at this point, and so it's time to replace those. We put this out to bid and received bids on 9 different treadmills. Staff looked those over, even visited sites where all of these treadmills were currently used to get a feel for those treadmills and what would be the best fit. Overall, they rated those treadmills on 13 different criteria.
Did you try them out?
I didn't personally, but the committee members did, yeah. They
Okay.
made several trips. Fortunately, there are a number of centers and places that they're, in short distance where they were able to make those trips and try them out. But we have gone through that process. We budgeted $80,000 for this replacement. That's from the Equipment Replacement Fund at the Aquatic Center, which is funded by first-time membership purchases. There's a $75 fee that goes into this fund to replace this equipment. After this review, we're requesting, there are 12 treadmills. I should be clear there. There are 12 treadmills. We want to replace 10 of those treadmills with Precor 835 treadmills from Pacific Fitness Products for a total combined price of $56,700. And also recommend 2 Alpine Runner treadmills that are manufactured by the True Fitness Company. They have a very dramatic incline. Most treadmills are 12 to 15%. They extend up to 30%. Very steep incline. We would like to put 2 of those in addition to the additional cost of $10,540 for a combined cost for all 12 treadmills of $67,240.
Okay, council, any questions for Eric?
So the rationale for 10 of one type and 2 of the other is just anticipated demand for the ones with a steeper incline?
It's a much more extreme type of workout, and we have a limited number of patrons that are more interested in a heavier type of workout. That I would never try 30%. That's awfully steep. But there are some that are training for different events and so forth that really would like to have that option as an available option. For 2 of the 12 treadmills, we think that's a reasonable addition.
So what happens with the old treadmills then? Is there any resale value at all?
There is. We trade after waiting a little bit longer, decrease that value a little bit for us, but generally there's a little bit of a trade-in value, not a substantial amount, but we'll save $5,000 to $6,000 by trading in the existing treadmills.
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions? Okay, thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Council, seeing no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve the award of proposal for the Clearfield Aquatic and Fitness Center treadmills purchased to Pacific Fitness Products and Upper Limit Fitness for a total cost of $67,240, and authorize your signature to any necessary.
Second.
I We have a motion and we have a second from, is that Councilmember Bush? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. That brings us to communication items. So, a lot going on. Had picnic up this past week, the Defenders Picnic up on base. So I got to go up and serve lunch to a whole ton of airmen that day. We had a good meeting with the developers for the University Park, or whatever they're calling that, the old Midtown Village, now University Park project. They've got some good things planned that are moving forward. We should start seeing applications and things come through them very quickly. And General Blameyer, who we've had out to our party and is commander for the short duration of his time as the commander at the depot, is leaving us, and so he's made his farewell this past week. Got to say goodbye to he and his 7, 8 children. Awesome family, so they will be greatly missed up there. And then just a note that I will be September 5th through the 15th, I will be out of town flying all of the 5th to Italy, so that'll leave both those meetings, the 5th and the 12th, over to Kent. So that is all I had this evening. Councilmember Young.
Just want to mention, I have a neighbor that used to work for the city, and he mentioned how nice it is to be off on the 4th of July now. So I want to mention how much I appreciate all the work that our staff puts in. I realize it's a lot. I mean, from watching, the code enforcement direct traffic to the Parks and Rec and seeing, I don't know what he was talking about, but just me to forget a name when I'm thinking, but your assistant comes here a lot. Curtis, thank you. I want to say this. So watching Curtis run back and forth, dealing with issues there at the park, and I just realized there's a lot of work and effort that goes into making that a good holiday for Clearfield, and it's not a holiday for you guys, and we appreciate it. So thanks.
It's very interesting. We'll have our wrap-up meeting here in 2 weeks, which is delayed from where it typically is. We tend to meet usually the week after, maybe 2 weeks after the 4th, and we'll do this at the first week of August now. But typically, we then take a month off, and then we jump right back into it and start planning next year. So it's when you say staff puts in an enormous amount of time, it's dang near a year's worth of time planning next year. So.
And it just peaks right there at the end.
Yeah, it's 3 days, and boom, it's over.
Mobilize everybody.
So definitely, I would echo that. Councilmember Bush.
I think we ought to use the same float and say we're crossing the Potomac instead of the Delaware.
Just pick a new river every.
Just pick a different river.
Next year. Just to thank you to all of those who had anything to do with the 4th of July Independence Day activities. Great job.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson.
I'm going to just jump on the 4th of July bandwagon on there. I was putting together just I was going through pictures of the float, since that's one of my assignments. And in going back through the float pictures from 4th of July, there were 13 staff members who had a direct impact on something as minimal and small and no big deal as the float. And if you've got 13 staff members on something that small, it was just amazing to see how well it came together. And I had a ton of great feedback, even when there were some hiccups and some unexpected things that happened that evening, how much more happy and impressed they were with it, that it went that well. So a shout out onto that, and also to Trevor. I know he's not in the room, but I saw him at 6 a.m. that morning, and he was there Instagram storying all the way through the fireworks show, so I appreciate that. And then I also had a request, feedback for an individual who's attended council here, to look at the audio in this room. And I don't know if I can informally ask along the back, but there was a concern that the audio in the back of the room is difficult to hear speakers when they are speaking, that it's nigh impossible to understand when someone is at the dais. And so there was a concern there, so I could just relay that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And on that same note, thank you for accepting that assignment with the float. That is no no easy task to take on, and we certainly appreciate it. And I had some amazing comments about our float this year. I mean, people would yell at us if we went by. It was the best, coolest kind of float that they'd seen in a long time.
It's nice when you have George Washington up at the front.
Yeah, we do this again, and George Washington is Tim Roper.
There we go.
You know, I was fine just riding in the back.
Yeah. Well, next time we'll remember that misters go up top, not down below. All right, Councilmember Roper.
I will jump on the 4th of July bandwagon as well, but thanks to Vern's wife pointed out to me that there was a young man there that had some disabilities that wanted to go up on stage with Stephen Nill and wasn't able to do that. But I wanted to commend our entertainment and the professionalism they have, that Stephen took the time to meet with this young man after the show and had a big smile on his face after that. So, but thanks to city staff and for all they do there.
That was one of our members from Park, the kids, the students from Park that were over for the concert. So it was cool to see him involve them, and yeah,
It was great.
Okay, Councilmember Phipps.
No, I just echo that. It's remains our singularly visible activity that Clearfield is known for. And so it's just really cool that yet another peg in the tent of legacy. I don't know. And I will be out of town Thursday through next Saturday, so for about 10 days. So much of that will be completely outside of electronic communication, which will be great.
Amen.
Till I have to go through all my emails when I get back.
I did have one other item I forgot to mention. Jeanette with the Hope Fellowship? New Hope Fellowship. Called today to let me know that their backpack party is on August 12th. Begins at 4 o'clock. She'd asked me to come speak. Unfortunately, I'm not able to. That is our state conference weekend, and I'll be otherwise engaged. So I need a volunteer that would like to take that assignment on, be willing to go spend, just a couple minutes there at 4 o'clock, maybe speak for 5 or 6 minutes and welcome everybody and just kick it off. Anyone passionate want to take on that assignment?
I'll do that.
Okay. There is Jeanette's number. If you would give her a call and just let her know that you'll be there.
Thank you.
And anyone else that would like to attend, you're welcome to go as well. It's 4 to 7 that day. So, okay, staff reports. Adam.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. I was sitting here thinking about the conversation that we had just a few minutes ago in work session. I just want to tell the council thank you for your direction to staff. Those are hard questions that we're asking you to consider, and really big picture items that have an enormous impact on the community, the long-term future of what's going to happen here. And just want to tell you thank you for the direction you give us. And I know that those are challenging tasks that you have as elected officials, and as staff, I acknowledge that we don't fully understand the pressures that you experience from your neighbors and things like that. But we do appreciate that guidance and feedback that you give us, and that's our goal in those types of conversations. And just wanted to say thank you. I know that you have a difficult job, and we appreciate what you're doing for the community, and it really is great to work with each one of you. So thanks.
Okay, Nancy.
Just the schedule, so next Tuesday, August 1st, we won't have a meeting. It's the Night Out Against Crime at night at the Clearfield Aquatic Center from 6 to 8 p.m. Then we are planning on work session and policy session on the 8th. Right now, we've got no meeting planned for the 15th. Work and policy session on the 22nd.
Okay. Any other staff reports? Eric.
Just wanted to update council quickly on the playground equipment. If you've been down by Cornerstone, that installation has started. We're going to be probably another couple of weeks before that's playable. However, we've got to do the footings and the foundation wall surrounding that before we can put the wood chips in. That's going to take a little bit of time. The playground equipment for 200 South should be here within the next week to week and a half. And we've prepped the site already at Island View. So by the end of the month, that's next week. So that's part of the reason the 4th of July wrap-up meeting is in August. Also, a new sign is going in the cemetery tomorrow, likely. Pretty happy with the way that's turned out. But those 3 playgrounds, at least by the middle of August, should be complete. And then the only outstanding one will be Central, and still trying to coordinate that with the school district at Wasatch. So that will still be forthcoming, but probably September, maybe early October before that's installed.
Very good. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, 650 North, by the way, they are supposed to be paving tonight, wrapping up the paving over there, and should be done with that by the end of the week. Cross your fingers. Unfortunately, that means that they will be hard and heavy into 193 and the frontage road, and if you can see the work they've done over there already, it's a fun project.
Your Honor, you just reminded me of something that I did want to pass along to council. So we've been in communication with Layton City, and over off of University Parkway or Park Boulevard, a majority of that right-of-way is owned by Layton City, controlled by Layton City, and with Layton, our concerns are growing with the traffic that's out there, issues that are caused by on-street parking by the university, and then those students run across the street where there is no crosswalk. We've been out there and done some traffic studies. I say we, Layton City, but they shared the data with us, looking at the average speeds on that street. And ultimately, we've arrived at a decision that it's probably in our best interest to go on ahead and red curb the west side of that street there to eliminate the students running across the street. And so that will likely be completed here really soon if it's not already done. I know they wanted to move on that quickly, but we just wanted to pass that along to you. The majority of the right-of-way, like I said, is Layton's. Where they control it, we couldn't stop it if we wanted to, but we did look at that information that they provided to us. We felt like it made sense ultimately, and so they'll be moving forward on that. Scott, anything that I missed on that item? The speed, they are going to raise it by 5 miles an hour, I believe, from 30 to 35, where that matched up to the average speeds anyways. So.
That's how we fix that?
It is actually, yeah, it's the 80th percentile was about 38. And so I think they were going to, it just made sense from an
increasing the speed limit?
From 30 to 35.
And you know what happens when you do that.
And removing the on-street parking.
It just became an average speed of 42. And the freeway speed we need to increase then to 86.
If you don't like that particular portion, we should blame that on Layton City. It is it is their sign.
One last shout out before we go. For those of you who follow our Facebook page, this last week would have seen a post from Trevor that he put on there showing some old Clearfield businesses that were in there. The response back to that from the community was amazing. He told us this morning it had a reach of about 26,000 people just reminiscing. There's I talked to Adam this morning, that's something that'll never come back. It's not, not only can it, or not only will it not come back, it really can't come back. And that's just a sign of the times. It's the way things are. And we talk about, an old grocery store, and people said, "Oh, wow, I really missed that. Oh, I wish we still had that." But do they really? Or do they just miss the nostalgia, the feeling of going with mom or dad or grandma or grandpa to King's to get an ice cream cone? But it was neat to see everybody really reminisce about how they feel about Clearfield and the stories that they shared about living in Clearfield. So for those people who say, wow, it's just not that great a place to live, these are still residents that are still looking at Clearfield and going, I'm really happy that I'm here and sharing stories about it. So kudos to Trevor for coming up with kind of just a cool way to do that. I challenged him to come up with some more this morning. So if there is nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We had a big party.
We did it.
You didn't know?
How can you not have it? Well, what's funny is
funny, because Adam and